Good evening, beloved children. This is your group soul, Zarina, and we are delighted to be partaking in our blessed Thursday evening once again. It is so important to have these meetings, these rituals, you might call them, in which we come together once again and join our consciousness and remember that which is eternal and identify together that which has come to pass. And in between that which is eternal and that which has come to pass, there is a lovely resting place, a place that many of you may have experienced in your breathing exercises, or when you have been aware of your breathing. It is that lovely, naked place right in between the intake of breath and the release of breath. That place in your breathing where no thing is happening, where nothing is happening. And let's do that together again. And so we're going to give ourselves permission to take a nice deep breath in as one and hold and release. And we are grateful as we recognize with you that you joyfully align with the no thing, with the nothing, the aspect of your breath where no thing or nothing is happening, and how restful that is. Indeed, we have noticed that many human beings think of that place as a kind of hammock where you are suspended in between 2 points. And lo and behold, that suspension is in and of itself deeply restful. To be suspended between 2 knowns in an ocean of unknown may seem from time to time terrifying. It may seem to our human consciousness that no, we don't want to rest in the unknown. And yet, when we consciously partake in resting in the unknown, we discover once again how joyful and how familiar this deep resting is between 2 points, between what we think we know, 2 places, the inflow of breath and the outflow of breath. These are 2 places that we know. And then there is that amazing in between of what we don't know. And this is what we consider to be deep rest, to allow ourselves to not know. And this is part of what we will be talking about tonight, the joyful and restful surrender into that which we do not know, and how helpful it is the more we spend time in the hammock, the resting place of that which we do not know, how helpful these resting periods are. For when we come back to that point of that which we believe we know, either an inflow of breath or an outflow of breath. And I have someone tapping me on the shoulder. And so, Zarina, we will now withdraw, and we are going to invite in our next speaker. And how delightful to have Reverend Gladys Strom come forward, and we withdraw and allow Reverend Gladys to step forward. Yes, my goodness, I am so happy to be here. And I just wanted to say, Reverend Violet, what a bright and beautiful creature I am looking at when I look at you. When I look at all of you, of course, in this group, I'm not just singling her out. I want you to know you all look bright and beautiful, but I am really, really overjoyed with the plans you have made, my dear, for your green mation or your water mation, your green death. I can't help but think and wonder if I had been so prepared in my own thinking of what my particular passing would be like, not just my physical passing, but what would have happened to my body, my physical body, that I might have met some moments in my physical life with a little more dexterity and a little more imagination and a little more willingness to step into the unknown physically. So I wanted to pick up on something that your group soul, Zarina, was talking about when she brought forward the beautiful example of the space in between your in-breath and your out-breath. That beautiful space where you don't know anything, where as far as you're concerned, nothing is happening. That beautiful space in which we become incredibly aware of how infinite we actually are. And isn't that funny? That's a certain kind of irony, isn't it? That where nothing is happening is where we discover how incredibly infinite we are, how always we have always been. And furthering that, I wanted to talk to you about what it means to be a human being in your physical costume, a costume that has a beginning and a middle and an end, and a personality that you have created. I must say, I love all your personalities. You've created them quite beautifully. There's a sense of your personalities also have beginnings, middles, and ends. At one point, these other aspects of physical body, well, they will have come to pass as well. And there are many such arcs in your physical life that have beginnings, middles, and ends. And in, I will say our, because, it wasn't so long ago that I wasn't in a physical body. So I'm going to share this with you. In our desire to, shall we say, stay on top of things, to be in control of our lives, and to make sure that our lives have meaning, to make sure that we're really getting the best out of this living experience, this experience of being human, we often forget that an enormous part of the spiritual task of being a human is the no thing, the nothing, that place where nothing is happening, that resting place. As Zarina has said, it's that place in between the breaths. And now I am taking that image, moving it forward one more step, and I'm going to suggest to you that it is the place between your birth, your physical birth, and your physical death. That along the way on that journey, there are a series thousands, millions, billions of moments of returning to the no thing, the nothing, the no breath, the eternal you, the you that you were before you were born, before you put on physicality, before you put on a personality. That you, oh yes, that you. Oh yes. And some of you are talking about, and it's so delightful to hear. Some of you are talking about, now I feel as though I'm finally me. I'm stepping into me. April, I think we heard you say something like that. As a result of April, you're experiencing of the no thing, the nothing in a way that helped you to feel everything. It helped you to feel that you are connected to everything. Such a beautiful thing. And what we are noticing, those of us in spirit, those of us primarily because I still hang out with mediums, I enjoy their company. Why wouldn't I? Primarily, those of us who are mediums who are watching people who are either mediums or developing what I would call a mediumistic consciousness, consciousness of being one with all. And a lot of those people wouldn't raise their hands and say, yes, I'm a medium, but they might very well raise their hands and say, yes, I do feel connected with something grand and beautiful that brings us all together. And so there are many, many human beings who are having these experiences of deep rest, of sinking into the no thing, the nothing. Some teachers have called it the no thought, taking no thought, not thinking, just simply being, resting. I come to believe, my dears, especially with what all of you are going through on this planet. I didn't have to go through what you are going through. Yes, the planet was having its trials and troubles and upheavals, but not to the extent that it is now. And so I was not dealing with the kind of wobbly earth that you are having to deal with. And what I'm noticing is that, in my humble opinion, I think you all need more of the no thing, more of the rest, more of that suspension between everything you believe you know and a willingness to not know. Oh, I know it's hard. You want to turn the news on and you want to know. You want to feel into the future and you want to know. Oh, gosh, yes, I understand that. However, there's far more value for you, especially since you are growing, all of you, in your consciousness, to know that you are truly one with everyone and everything. There's far more value for you right now to give yourself several instances during your day, timeouts, in which you allow yourself to not know anything, not a thing, no plans, no predictions, nothing, just your divine self, the you before you were born. Let's do that for a moment, shall we? And you know, I heard somebody, one of you, used the word divine optimist just now. I'm not sure who that was, but I am a medium, so I'll find out. But somebody just said divine optimist. Oh, it was Yeshua. How beautiful. And I do hear you, Master Teacher Yeshua, and he is saying to me Dear Gladys, it takes a lot of divine optimism to hang suspended in that no thing, in the nothing, in the not knowing. And I think I understand you, Master Teacher Jesus. I do hear what you're saying, that we do need divine optimism, a trust in the universe, that the universe will hold us, that we will hold ourselves, that there is a beneficence about the universe, a divine goodness that we can relax into. Thank you for that reminder, Master Teacher Jesus. Thank you so much. And now we will begin. And so I am calling in all of your joy guides now to hold your feet, your earthly feet, sweetly to the floor, to the ground of your being, wherever you are. Thank you, sweet joy guides. And as you give yourselves permission to feel their loving and sweet energy, just gently touching in with your feet and grounding you, there is also a sense of this is joyful and familiar, this grounding in, this willingness to be right here, right now, to not go anywhere. We don't need to go anywhere. We are full and complete right here. We can agree with our joy guides that this is a good place to be. So we might as well ground in right here. And as we continue to sweetly agree with our joy guides that this is a good place to be, we can ground here, we can rest here. We give ourselves permission right now as one group, and I'll do it with you. Even though I'm not in my physical body, I can still think I'm breathing. And so let's take in a nice, beautiful breath together and hold that breath and release that breath. Did you know that in that beautiful place of suspension, that we were all hanging out together, out in the vastness of this beautiful ocean of a universe, all in a beautiful, delightful, collective, loving energy? Felt good, didn't it? And now let's continue that breathing. Let's know that we are breathing into our knees. We'll do the same thing. We'll take a nice deep breath in, we'll hold it, and while we're holding it, knowing that we are in that loving, divine suspension, and then we will release. And so breathe in with me. And release. And breathe on forward, and let's breathe up into our pelvises. And once again, we breathe in. And we release. Let's breathe up into our heart chakras. If it helps you to put your hands over your heart chakras, of course, do so. Why not? And we breathe into our hearts. And release. And let's breathe into our beautiful, beautiful throat chakras. And release. And we're going to bypass the third eye and just go right up to our crown chakras and just breathe lightly into the very tops of our heads. And now, are you ready to have some more fun? I think you are. Lovely children, what we're about to do now is to breathe into our 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th and 12th chakras. And we're just going to keep the breathing going, this time above our physical bodies. And this is why it's very important that our joy guides keep holding our feet to the ground. Joy guides, are you holding our feet? Good jobs, joy guides. All right, everybody. Now we breathe into that 8th chakra above our heads. And release. And we breathe into the 9th chakra above our heads. And release. And we breathe into the 10th chakra. And release. And we will now breathe into the 11th chakra above our heads. And release. And we will breathe now into our 12th chakra above our heads. And release. And now, beloveds, my sweet sisters, we are all together in a beautiful, flexible state. We are all together, having breathed forward through all of our chakras, up and above our very 12th. And here is where I would have you knowing that we are about to breathe into another dimension altogether. That's right, April, another galaxy, another universe, all together. And so if you like, you can hold my hand as you do this, if that would bring you comfort. I'm going to pull a mist tulip on you, and I'm going to divide myself into lots of different spheres. If you'd like to take my hand, go ahead, take my hand. It's like we're on a field trip together, isn't it? Everybody stay together. Right. Very good. Excellent. And so in front of us is a beautiful band of moving violet light. Isn't that pretty? Some of you may be seeing some little ribbons of gold and violet, some maybe seeing some green in there, but the predominant color is violet. It's a violet light. And that is, if you will, a kind of a gateway, kind of a bridge to the next universe, next dimension. And what I'd like you to know is that as you hold my hand and walk with me, that we're all going to walk through it right now. We're all going to do this right now, and we are doing this right now. We're walking right through, moving right through that beautiful violet light. Isn't that lovely? Yes. And I heard one of you say, I feel like myself. That's right. We are ourselves. We have dropped a lot of baggage in order to be where we are right now. We truly have. We are ourselves. And now we are definitely and completely in what you can either call another universe or another dimension. Really doesn't matter. The two phrases or words are interchangeable at this point. But I would love for you to notice who it is that is walking toward you, because there is a delightful communion that you are about to experience. All kinds of energies, all kinds of light beings that you have known from other lifetimes and other planets and other classrooms are meeting you right here. Yes, yes, it can be very moving. And yes, there are a lot of those that have presented themselves as animals and birds. Oh, yes, there are many boulders here, many rocks, and many trees, many beloveds. Beloveds come in all shapes and sizes, don't they? Mm-hmm. There's somebody has brought in a beautiful white dove. How beautiful. And now it is important for you as a collective to feel into the master teacher that is drawn to this particular group, a teacher that steps in between dimensions and universes and travels everywhere and has had many different names in many different places, but a master teacher that is familiar to you under a name that you give that master teacher, whoever he or she is. And whoever he or she or they are here now. And I can feel that there is one here among you that has drawn to yourself a master teacher that has presented herself as a god with many arms, a beautiful Hindu deity. And this beautiful deity comes forward, speaking quite practically of how useful it is to stay open to being multi-dimensional. Here also is the opportunity for all of us together to plan our next trip. What will we do when we return to our earthly consciousness, to physical body and personality, which we are beyond now, but what will we do? Where is it we would like to go? What is it we would like to achieve as we are sitting here in this beautiful council? Now is a good time to plan that, to draw that, to hear it as music, to see it as a vision, to listen to it as your own kind of prophecy coming forward. What will you do? What will we do when we return to our third dimensional consciousness? And now, dear ones, gently, 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 and knowing that where we are now is very familiar and delightful and secure to all of you, that this is a place where we can be suspended in between everything that we have known or thought we have known and everything we don't know, everything we have yet to discover. that we can now remember our way back very, very slowly. And this is important. I don't want anybody getting the bends by moving too quickly here. So know and feel that beautiful violet light, that beautiful ribbon of violet light, sometimes a little gold. Now you are moving back through it, and hold my hand and move through your 12th chakra and your 11th and your 10th and your 9th and your 8th and your 7th and your 6th and your 5th and your 4th and your 3rd and your 2nd and your 1st and your knee chakras and finally your feet. And there, give your joy guides a hug because they've done an amazing job grounding you. So hold your sweet joy guides and say, hi, thank you. Thank you for holding me. And thank you, all of you, for taking a trip with me. A trip that you often take when you are asleep or sometimes daydreaming or washing the dishes sometimes. Many times you pop out of normal consciousness and remember that beautiful unknowing and unlearn everything about yourself and rediscover just how beautifully infinite you are. I loved taking the trip with you. I love all of you. I am being tapped on the shoulder because a very special somebody would like to have the final word here. Let me just withdraw and allow the Master Teacher Yeshua to come forward. Thank you, Reverend Gladdy, and thank you, all of you. I really enjoyed being a part of that with you and noticing how all of you were so willing to put your trust in an incredibly delightful and joyful experience and be willing to surrender everything you think you know into what you don't know. And as I have often mentioned before, I am still doing this work, you know. I am still breathing my way from what I think I know into what I really don't know. I want you to know that I am by no means an expert. I am simply somebody who has practiced a lot and learned to play musical humanness in a certain way. And I learned very well, and I learned it by practicing, really. But I'm not an expert in anything, really. I'm simply an expert in a certain way of being a certain kind of human being. That's all. And I am continuing to grow, continuing to explore, continuing to discover. Many, many times, I find myself watching what it's like for you all to be a human being on the planet and feeling deep within me a kind of, well, I wouldn't call it jealousy. It's more admiration. Admiration, really, for how you are able to keep yourself flexible when your whole world, in many, many ways, seems to be crashing down around you. I say this because when I was on planet Earth, my world was not the entire geography that yours is. Mine was a little part of the planet. You know, Jerusalem, Nazareth, the surrounding areas of Galilee. That was my world. It was small, it was contained. Yes, it was messed up. Yes, there was a lot that was not good with it. But there was also a lot of beauty, a lot of kindness, a lot of light there. And so it was very different from the world that you are in. I often think to myself, my goodness, I was a big fish in a little pond, and these souls are big fish in oceans. And what you have to deal with in many ways is much harder than what I had to deal with. What you have to deal with is a sense that everything you have known is disappearing around you. That was not true for me. There were just some things that were disappearing for me, you know, such as my physical body. But I didn't have the same sense that you all are having, that everything is dissolving around you, you know, including your environment, let's be honest, including all the political systems and the religious systems, all these systems. So you have a much harder burden to carry, a much heavier load, which is why I say that I really admire you, and why it is that I prophesied thousands of years ago that other generations would do greater things than I did. And what I meant by that is that I could foresee that generations from when I was living, there would be human beings that would be dealing with things that I couldn't even begin to comprehend. And the love that these human beings, and I mean you are the human beings I was talking about, that the love that you are able to bring to your circumstances, that is a work that is far greater than anything I was able to do. And I want you to hear that. And I want you to believe me. I want you to really hear it and believe it. It's just so important that you think of me as a fellow traveler, as somebody who is really still working as you are to grow, to evolve. And as I do so, I'm humbled by the realization that, yes, I was right, that the generations that would follow me, specifically your generation, would be called upon to do much greater work than what I did. And so let's get down to it. What is this much greater work? The much greater work, my dear ones, is to get involved in every single corner of your planet, of your world, every single aspect of it, and lift it up and breathe love into it, and do that very same exercise that your Reverend Gladdy did with you, breathing through every single level of energy of every single aspect of your world, breathing through, and along the way being willing to be in suspension and not know. Oh, it's so important to not know. And that not knowing brings your whole world together into a sense of loving, cooperative suspension that is vulnerable, where there are no weapons, where there is no cruelty, where there is only love, only love, only love. But this is your work, my friends. You're not about healing a leper or healing someone who's lying paralyzed by the pool, or healing a woman who bled for 30 years, or raising one person from the dead. Your job is about raising the whole planet. Do you understand me? The whole planet. And that's why it is much greater than what I did. And that is why I wash your feet. That is why I admire you so much. And that is why I am always walking with you. I will never desert you. And that is why I believe in you. And that is why I am delighted to call you sisters, friends, companions. Be not afraid. You are doing beautiful work, all of you. Remember over the coming days to retire into what you do not know, to allow yourself to be suspended in that loving compassion that truly is what the universe is made out of. I'll be there, right there with you. We'll be breathing it together, or unbreathing it, I should say. And know that all is well. I love you. I bless you. I appreciate you. And I behold the light in each and every one of you. Let me use a word very dear to my heart. Shalom. And this is your group Souls Arena, and we are so delighted to have these loving guests and souls with us. Beloveds, it is now time to consider that you have made a loving commitment that we have to live in our physical bodies. And so now is a good time to feel your toes and wiggle your fingers, and remember that you made a promise to be present in your physical bodies, and that you also made a promise to be present as your personalities, your beautiful personalities. And as you bring yourself forward back into what we like to call third dimensional consciousness, know that you are loved and know that all is well. And namaste.